I've actually got a ton of freaking hours in this thing already because, guys, I'm telling you, in your head, you're like, yeah, let's build a rock crawler. Just do this, this, and this. But it's more than that. I promise you. And I was going to name this video how to do a rock crawler the affordable way, affordable and right way, but just to be completely honest, if you're going to do this, you better have freaking deep pockets and be willing to spend your whole life savings because it is like a never-ending deal. Anyway, recap on the Jeep. It's getting rebuilding the frame in the back to accommodate for the stretch and the huge axles. Jeep's going to have a low center of gravity because I like the way it looks with low center of gravity. Plus, I don't want to flip over. And I'm trying to run 40s. I am going to run 40s. Getting full hydraulic steering, Super 60s, or Super Duty axles, Moto-Built Highline comp cut fenders in the back, boat side kit. All this is coming up. Well, except for the Moto-Built fenders. I've already did that. And there's a couple of things that I'm going to go over in this video, even though it's more of a stretch video. But I didn't film the Moto-Built fenders, and they weren't bad, but there's a few things that I didn't know because I couldn't find nobody that had put them on here really and done this kit, that I think if I go over it, it might help somebody out because, well, chances are if you're watching this video, you're probably doing Moto-Built Highline fenders. You're probably going to do the inner fender kit, which I got right here. See the inner fender? You got to just cut it off, and anyhow, works great. And you can also use your stock. You can use your stock tailgate latch. You just got to modify it. I can't really tell you how to do that other than heat it up. Don't break it. Don't try to work it cold. It will crack on you, just like anything. And you just gotta freaking modify it, man. But once you get it done, as sturdy as it can be, you do lose a bolt, but 3 bolts is good enough. You know. So, for the Moto-Built Highline fender, there ain't really no like okay, measure this and this is where they go. The first thing you want to do, so I'll tell you what when I got this thing up here, this Jeep was rhino lined. See the rhino liner? Used to be rhino lined. And got it all clamped down. You see my reveal here. I mean, you want it to be just barely below the top of that edge where your hardtop sits. And then if you get it right there, it kind of really, I mean, Moto-Built does a good job. They freaking got their shit together when it comes to fitment. At least they did on these fenders. I'll let you know how the boat side kit goes, because all this is getting chopped off too. Like all this is getting all chopped off, and it's going to be tapered down to the frame. It'd be beautiful. But I'll tell you what, if you got your Jeep rhino lines, which you may or may not, they do not fit. It will not. It keeps the corner here is like, I guess that rhino liner is so thick that it won't let it wrap around to where it needs to go. And it was just, that's just the way it was for me. I ended up having to scrape all the rhino liner off, which was a lot easier than I thought it would be. Once you do that, you get this dude sitting up here. It's a pain in the butt. If you have 2 people, or if your wife can help you, or somebody, if you have no friends, sorry. Use your wife, or if you have no wife, then sorry. You're SOL. You have to do it yourself. And I did one side myself. But clamp it down and get it where you want it. Clamp it really good. It's going to suck because you're going to do this like 2 or 3 times, and it's a pain in the ass. Clamp it down real good. Don't drill your holes yet. Go ahead and mark it out. Mark out your actual tub, because your tub's going to be like way down here, all in the way. Mark out your tub. I just used a pocket knife. No, I used a pocket knife or a chisel or whatever, something to get in the corner real good. And you just follow it around really good. But you want to be sure that you cut, like if you make your line here, you want to be sure you cut on the left side of it, you know what I mean? So that you cut more out than you need, because you don't want your finished project to be your freaking old Jeep tub that's chopped up and sharp now. Otherwise, you're going to be coming back with a grinder and grinding all that crap down, and it just cut more than you need out because it's getting covered up anyway. Once you get it all cut out, I use the grinder wheel, and then when you get down here to this crap, you're going to have to use a Diablo blade or some kind of really good metal blade, because that shit's thick and you'll never get through it with a grinder unless you just want to waste a bunch of time. So just cut it with your what the hell, Sawzall. Cut it with your Sawzall. Golly, seriously, guys. Another thing that's kind of a pain is this inner fender deal's got like a box here, so you're gonna have to, I cut that with the, you just gotta have, a guy needs to have a Diablo blade on a Sawzall and a grinding wheel on a grinder, a cutting wheel on the grinder to do this. And you'll have to have the Moto-Built Highline fenders too, because you're going to literally chop your fender well out. But do it right, man. Don't freaking jank your Jeep all up and get it. Like, have a plan when you cut your Jeep, because these Jeeps are getting old, guys. Don't just go chopping on it and don't have any idea of what you're doing, or like, make it look good. Your Jeep will never be the same when you start cutting on it. It will never be the same. It's going to be like that from now on. I know it's just a toy and you're just going to beat it up, but just do it right. It's not hard to do stuff right. I hate seeing people just chop their fenders off, and just do stuff right. That's why I'm making this video, because I try to do stuff right, and I figured maybe I could help somebody out, because there's a lot of stuff that I wish I'd have known going into this that I don't know, that I had to figure out myself. For the Highline fenders, the Moto-Built's got really good instructions. Not really going to go over that a whole lot. You just run your tape on your stock fenders. You put a piece of 1-inch painter's tape all the way around, cut that dude out around the painter's tape, and leave yourself a little lip. Freaking Moto-Built nailed it for instructions on that. One thing I will say, they come with these little holes that you tack weld in. They were tiny, so I actually drilled them out so that I can get more of a weld in there. That's just something I want to do. You don't have to do that. I'm sure it will be fine. That's just the way I did it. Sorry for rambling on. I'm just trying to make your life easier here. There's a little piece here whenever you go to stick this fender on here. It's going to keep this fender, it's going to have your fender jacked up where you have a gap right here. I went ahead and grounded it off. It sucks kind of, because it's really thin, and once you grind that off, you're going to have a hole in your tub. Don't worry about it. You can seal it later. You want your fender here is the most important part. You want that dude sitting flat, and then you can even come back and tack weld that hole shut to a certain extent. If you can, on this side I couldn't, because if you see, there's just inconsistency with the Jeep itself, and now I got a hole and nothing really to weld it to, because this is like paper thin. It's not even worth welding to, not to mention it's cut. Don't worry about that. Go get yourself some seam sealer from O'Reilly's. Seal that shit up. Okay, you're gonna get all this crap in here. You're like, this is great, super easy. Then you got your fender cut out. You're gonna want to clamp the fender back down, because you want to do your fender, get it finished first. And then you're gonna drill your holes out. Some of them use these little riv nuts for your hollow spots, and they're great. They work really good. They're just kind of a pain in the butt to put in sometimes, but you got to. And then some of them just use the old, just bolt right through the tub, and you can actually get a crescent on the back side of it. This one here, that one there, is a pain in the butt. It wants to walk to the right on you. You're gonna have to really hold that bit to get it to, because you're drilling through something. I don't know if you can see that. You're drilling through the edge here, and it wants to hit this edge. Push your bolt, your drill bit this way, and then your freaking countersink deal ain't gonna set right, which mine is just the tiniest bit off, because I didn't know that at the time, but I tightened it down good. Actually, I went ahead and drilled the hole out a little bit bigger. She's golden. You're welcome. Don't screw it up. Get your fender bolted down. Okay, real quick. You're probably going to get this shit in, and you're going to be given these rib nuts to put your fenders on with. Then you're going to say, crap, how do I do that? And then I'm going to say, I got you, bro. You're going to take this. You're going to get you a little piece of metal, drill you a hole in the end of it, bend it on a 90. If you don't have a rib nut tool like I didn't, you're going to get you a bolt, 2 nuts, or just 1 big nut, and a washer. Because the only reason I did 2 nuts is because you don't want those threads to strip out, so the more surface area you got on the threads, the better. So I put my wrench across both the nuts and tighten them down at the same time. If you have a bigger nut, you probably get away with 1 without breaking the threads, or a strong bolt. I don't know what grade. Let's see. Well, shit, that's actually a pretty strong bolt. Anyway, then you do like this. Boom. And then you go ahead and drill your hole out for your rib nut. This, you're gonna stick your rib nut. It's hard to do this. Like, it's really difficult to do this, so bear with me here. I'm trying my best. Stick your rib nut in the hole, boom. Let's just pretend like there's a rib nut in there. You're gonna do this. You're gonna thread the bolt into the rib nut all the way as far as you can, because you want to be sure you get as many threads in there as possible, because the last thing you want to do is strip that rib nut out and then have to drill the son of a bitch out. And then you get the point from there. You're gonna hold. You're gonna put a wrench on right here where my thumb's at, on the edge, on the end of that bolt, and then you're just gonna push with your bracket. It's really difficult. If you have 2 people, it's a lot easier, but if you're not filming it, you can actually do it, because I don't have 2 hands right now. But even with 2 hands, it's difficult. You really need 3. Too bad that the Lord didn't give us 3. It would be a lot better, but it's whatever. I guess he likes to watch us struggle. Then you're going to tighten the nuts up while you push in on the rib nut, because you don't want that rib nut popping out. You want to get it in there. And then it's going to be hard at first. You keep tightening the nuts up, keep pushing, you got to hold this one still, and then it gets a lot easier. Tighten her up till she stops turning, and you're golden. So you're welcome. I just saved you, what, 40 to 50 bucks on a freaking rib nut tool that you'll use once in your lifetime. And I will say, I mean, it seems like a lot, but dude, it's actually really easy. Like, that works really good. And I seen that on YouTube, so I can't take the credit for it. I'm not a genius. I'm just smart enough to look shit up. Okay, now you got your fender on here. It looks great. You're like, woohoo, yay. So you're gonna take and you're gonna slap this dude in there, and it looks great, and you're like, woohoo, yay. Then you go bolt your fender on the rest of the way, and you realize, well, shit, look there, you can't bolt it on there on this corner bolt, because your freaking fender's in the way. Now you could cut the corner of your fender out, but then it would look like shit in the cab, and I didn't want to do that. Which, in all honesty, you don't really need that. Like, you got what, 10 other bolts holding it on. But it's just crappy, because this is like a kit. I mean, I love Moto-Built, don't get me wrong, but they dropped the ball on that. This is like a kit. It's supposed to, if you're using the Highline fenders, you've got to use the Highline fender tops, because you just cut a big hole in your fender. And I don't know if you guys can see in there, but like, it's in there. That's all the way. That's as good as it gets. Here's the solution. I haven't done it yet, because I don't know if I'm going to have enough of these, because I still have to do a boat side kit too. But my solution is, and it's going to really work good, I'm going to take this, I'm going to cut the head off of it with a grinder, cutting wheel. Then I'm going to put the head into the countersunk spot, just like that. And you see that little hole through there? I'm just going to tack weld it on. I'm going to tack weld it through the back, and it'll be a nut right there, and it'll look beautiful. Nobody will ever know except for me. But here's the deal. You got to be sure you got your crap where you want it before you do that. Don't go and welding shit together if you don't know for sure that it's never coming off of there. You know what I mean? And worst comes to worst, you could drill it out. It's not that big of a deal, but don't make extra work for yourself. Wait till the end to do that like I am. That's why it's not in there yet. So there you go. There's that. Now, what else? Oh, yeah. Well, that's it for the Motobilt Highline fenders. Gosh, guys, this is a lot. I hope that I'm not boring you. I'm trying to not bore you, but it's just a lot to go over. Now, that doesn't look stock, does it? I know. It's because I cut my frame off. Because I had to, kind of. So, you can buy the Motobilt kit. Motobilt, I have no idea what freaking hell it's called. Back half kit, yeah. And they work good. It's a beautiful kit, looks good, but I didn't want to spend $400 on it. I'm like, no. I have a brain, tape measure, and a welding rod and a cutting wheel. I just didn't want to do it. So I found I have some 2.5 inch hitch receiver quarter wall, which is twice the thickness of that, and I went with the 2.5 by 2.5 because I didn't want to use square tubing, because I am going to be using, and I don't really have to explain to you how I did that. I'm pretty sure y'all can see that. Sorry guys, crap. Got something in my throat this morning. Probably all the freaking metal that I inhaled yesterday cutting this shit off. Yeah, you just pretty much make a 90 there out of hitch receiver metal or square tubing, whatever you want to call it, and weld that dude on. I cut this already, but this is gonna get all like prettied up. I'm gonna put a piece of steel plate there and weld it on, and it's gonna look factory-ish. It's gonna be great. I used square tubing, and I used 2.5 inch quarter wall because obviously the frame's a lot thicker than that, like far as width. And I wanted to use a heavier tube because it's not as thick, it's not as wide or as tall. But I wanted to use that because I'm gonna be going sprung over. No, that's wrong. That's for leaf springs. I'm gonna be using coil springs instead of coil overs because they're freaking expensive, and I don't want to spend that much money. And I see a lot of Jeeps that do really good with coil springs and shocks. So I wanted to have that 2.5 inches extra height here. If you get what I'm saying, if I was to use rectangle tubing, we'd be down here, my spring purse would be down here, and then I'd be left with like freaking 3-inch coil spring. And I didn't want that. And in all honesty, guys, I'm probably still not going to have enough because of the way that this Jeep is sitting super low. And honestly, I don't care. I'm probably going to end up doing a coil perch like up here somewhere and welding it to the side of the frame. And that's just the way it's going to be, because I'm going to try to use JK springs just because simplicity, and if I ever break spring, just order JK springs, and because they ride good. And I don't want to use super small springs. I just don't. I don't know why. It just bothers me when I see little tiny like toy truck springs in the back of Jeeps. I just don't like it. So that's my plan. I will say this frame is super stout. Like, it's there. This hitch receiver metal was definitely 100% heavy enough. It's way freaking stronger than the frame, actually. Anyway, then you're gonna come back here and not screw it up like I did. This was my first attempt, and I had my body sitting on here, and I had just taken my body lift off. I thought it was all good. Cut a slot right there. Well, it wasn't all good, because whenever I had it all notched out, this dude was done. Like the frame sticking through here, it looked beautiful. And then I realized that my body was really crooked on my Jeep, like it was bad. And so I ended up having to cut another 1/2 inch out, because the reason I figured that out is because I went over here to start working on stuff and it was like way off. It was like way off. So little heads up, like, hey, don't F it up, guys, like I did, because it sucks. Your body has a lot of movement. Like, you can move these bodies on this frame a lot more than you think, way more than I thought was possible. Anyway, I fixed it. Everything's good. You are gonna have to chop if you're gonna do it like this. And there's my bumper is now just gonna be flush with the back of the Jeep. It's gonna look freaking sick, like absolutely cool, awesome. And this is what the moto build kit is too, basically. Except you got rectangle tubing instead of square tubing. Yeah, it was a big ordeal. I'm not gonna lie, it sucked. Now I've got a giant, but I'm human. I screw shit up. This is why I'm making this video, so that you won't. Before you go to cutting on your body, you better take a million measurements and make sure that dude is square, like square. And also, you're gonna want to measure your frame to make sure your frame is square. Like, you're just gonna be measuring for like a day, I'll be honest with you. And then you're gonna move it and it's gonna be off, and you're gonna move it again and it's gonna be even farther off, and eventually you'll figure it out. But I screwed it up. It's okay. I'm gonna have a piece of rectangle tubing, like 3" here, that's gonna be inset. I'm gonna cut holes where it like sets into these. I'm gonna weld them dudes up. I'm just gonna cover all that up. I'm not even gonna worry about doing body work because it's gonna be covered up. It's gonna look beautiful. And nobody's ever gonna know it except for the whole YouTube now. So, shit. Anyway, there's that. This side I did good though. You're gonna have to cut your moto built fenders, which kind of sucks. But yeah, it is what it is. Here's a video of me screwing it up right now. Yeah. I think I need a longer blade. You think this Diablo blade will do it? This thing's getting pretty it's not really in tip-top shape anymore. Pushing limits here. And I don't have a guard on this thing. Golly, man, that thing, Diablo. That's the ticket right there. Now, probably just stick that. I don't know. How do you think I ought to cut this chunk here out?
I was trying to figure that out too.
Like, maybe just stick that Diablo blade and cut it, you know?
Yeah.
Just kind of, don't really matter, but I don't really want to screw it up too bad. Yeah. And screwing this thing up was the goal. Certainly succeeded. I just cut this whole damn thing off of here because I don't really see the purpose of it at this point. It's just kind of sitting there. You know what I'm saying? This piece here?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a kind of a brace. Kind of like a brace. You know, like I've already chopped that up too. At this point, it's just two tack welds holding this whole thing together. I don't really know. I'm not really sure what's holding this one either. Okay. There's that. It's off the $300 fender, right? I got the right side, right? That's where they always break at on me. Alright, there's a half inch. Gosh, it kind of makes me sick. This Jeep's getting really light. I guess loosen the body mounts up and try to slide it over, take a bunch of measurements. Alright, you're gonna have to excuse my dogs fighting. Well, they're playing, but they get pretty rough. So now you've got your frame done. Sorry, the lights jacked up. Let me see your frame. Blue, get! It's all done. You got it sticking through the back. You cut your body all up. Now you're like, well, what do I do for body mounts? Well, it's not really rocket science, but golly, this phone sucks, y'all. I'm sorry. This camera's terrible. I'm gonna just put a piece of angle iron in here, drill holes, and use the factory body mounts or body bushings, you know, and just weld a piece of angle iron in here, put some holes in it, and there you go. Your body's mounted. Okay, this is kind of difficult to show, but I'm sitting here under the Jeep. Kind of see what's going on here with the frame, how I built it. Maybe it's just about a 1/4 inch gap from top of the frame, the new frame that I built, to the tub. Then I just got a piece of channel iron here. I hate to even show those welds on freaking YouTube. I know I'm gonna get roasted in the comments. I ain't sure what's the deal with them, man. Dang welder wouldn't, just like it wouldn't burn in or some crap. I think I might be getting low on shield gas. Anyway, it's good enough. I just built a piece of channel iron out of some flat plate. Alright, time for me to take a break from the Jeep and make a quick grilled cheese sandwich. As usual, my expectations for the day have come up miserably short. But whatever. At least I'm out here working on it. Key to a good grilled cheese is more butter. More butter. I guess that's the key to good food in general. Really, more butter. Never enough butter. You ever ate anything in your life and said, that was too much butter? No. Gotta get the salted kind too. Just as unhealthy as possible. Gotta make sure there ain't no spiders in there. You do that once, you won't ever do it again. Well, I don't like spiders. So maybe I'm a little different. I don't think anybody likes spiders. If you do, there's probably something wrong with it. Alright. So the goal here is make this look pretty. It's strong. I got it welded in there. Now I'm gonna cut this off even, the new part of the frame, and weld a piece of metal across here and then across the bottom too, to where it looks like one piece of metal. I guess it is one piece right now, but you know what I'm saying. Looks like shit, and it needs capped off. And I really wish there was a way to paint inside the frame. And I haven't been able to figure out how to do that. If anybody's got any suggestions or ideas, let me know in the comments. Because you spend all this work painting these frames and making them all look pretty, but then it's like, what about the inside of them? I guess they just don't rust because, maybe because they're not, I don't know. Seems like there should be a better way to do that to me, but what do I know? Alright, well, golly, this camera sucks. I got the new frame cut off, even with the old frame. It's a little bit wonky. It's not perfect. But it's pretty freaking hard to like cut it straight. About cut my leg off. Dropped the freaking grinder in my lap. See, it's bleeding through, actually. So that was a freaking scary deal, but that's why you wear safety equipment. If it wouldn't have been for my welding gloves, it'd probably cut my damn fingers off. I may or may not, I have that on video. I may or may not put it on the video because, I don't know. We'll see. It was sketchy. Freaking grinding blade got caught in a cut that I had already made with the Sawzall and broke the blade in half. Thing went crazy. It was wild, but here I am. So now my plan is to cut a piece of 1/8 inch steel, and because it's not really structural, I just want something to cover all this up and make it look pretty. And my plan is to just wrap it, like weld this here on the bottom first, and then like heat it up with a torch probably and beat it till it's flat, and then weld it up so it's all just one uniform piece. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it works out good. Okay, so now maybe you can kind of see what we got going on here. I welded this piece of 1/8 inch plate up here flush, got it all ground down smooth and pretty, where it looks like it's never been messed with, just the way it came. And then I'm going to heat this up under here, right here where I want it to bend, and beat it. It's gonna fold up and cover up our hole here and weld really nice right there. I'm gonna grind it all down. It'll look great. Good cap, plus a little extra strength back here where that frame's been added onto and modified. You have to bear with me. I'm trying to give y'all the best camera angle I can, but I'm working with caveman technology right now. Propped up against a piece of scrap metal on the floor. That's what you just have to do at the moment. Just spend all day trying to set the camera up real nice. Well, then I end up I don't get anything done. If I don't get anything done, I don't have any content to film. If I don't have any content to film, then y'all don't get to see nothing. That's just the way that it is at the moment. Hey, that turned out good. That they welded up. That's gonna look great. Alright guys, this is gonna wrap it up for the frame video. I finally got it done. I went ahead and kind of went a little extra and ground everything down. Just because I wanted it to look like it was, you know, supposed to be that way. Turned out pretty nice, I think. I did the same thing on both sides, just cut me a piece of steel out and I welded it to the top. I just kind of showed that, and then just heated it up and bent it around and then finished it out. So it's just, everything looks nice and uniform now. And the frame's up higher so that I can get a longer spring in here. I plan on using JK springs. And out of the way of the axle, so I ain't got to worry about not having enough up travel. The axle should have plenty of room since the frame just goes all the way back now. And the way I mounted my body is I just put a piece of angle iron across, drilled holes in it for my stock, where the stock holes are, you know, for your body mounts. And then I just put some really high strength rubber in there with Loctite on the bolts and tightened it down pretty snug. And that's what's going to hold the body up. And the frame just sticks out the back of the Jeep, and I had to cut my comp corners just a little bit, but that's okay. See how close I got to this bolt. Actually, I was pretty worried about it at first, but everything worked out. Frame's nice and tucked up close. Now I'm just going to weld me a piece of probably like 4-inch or 3-inch rectangle tubing across the back for a bumper, and then notch out a hole for a piece of hitch metal. And actually that's what the frame right there is it's for a hitch receiver to slide into. But yeah, that's how the bumper's gonna mount. I'll have to pick the body up to be able to weld it, but that's all right. Now I know where the body goes because it can only go in one spot. It's not very hard to line it up in the back. But yeah, that's it. That's how she come out. I'm pretty happy. I screwed up this one, but it's okay because the bumper's gonna cover it up. But that's the end of that video. That is how I am stretching the rear of my Jeep. That's how I rebuilt my frame, and I think that that's the best way to do it, other than buying the $370 Moto-Built kit. This is the pretty simple and easy way. It probably takes a little bit more like grinding and fabrication and using your brain than the Moto-Built kit, but I didn't want to spend $400 on a back half kit whenever I had steel laying around in the welding machine and a grinder. And for you guys, not a whole lot of thinking. All you gotta do is do what I did. I pretty much showed you step by step, so you're welcome. That's the easiest way to stretch your frame or redo your frame for a stretch. Anyway, if you like watching this, there'll be plenty more. This is just the beginning. I've still got to do the boat sides for Moto-Built. All that's gonna get done. And yeah, there'll be plenty more. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one.